Good afternoon. Most of the efforts with the Deep Horizon oil spill have been to keep the oil off the shores, out of the bays, the estuaries, the wetlands. There have been lots of noble efforts, with booms, dispersants, burning, skimmers, and these are all very valid efforts because these habitats are productive. They serve as nursery areas for many marine species. However, there are many other species that live offshore and in the water column and at the depths that are also very important. And I think that most people are unaware of these. Last summer, June 2009, we published a 1,400-page volume which was an all-species inventory of the Gulf of Mexico. This was a result of 140 authors from 80 institutions and 15 countries. And we have taken that volume and converted it into a digital database and divided the Gulf into 48 different polygons that are by area and depth and habitat type. And we have looked at the species richness, the diversity of animals around the Gulf. That sector of the Gulf that contains the Deep Horizon oil spill has 8,332 species, not counting any of the microbes or protozoans, just the animals and plants. So there's a huge diversity of animals there. And just to quote some of the species in the major groups, there are 1,461 mollusks. These are the clams and the snails. 604 polychaetes, the marine worms. 1,503 crustaceans, crab and shrimp-like animals. 1,270 species of fishes, 4 sea turtles, 218 bird species, 29 marine mammal species. So I think most people aren't aware of this vast species richness. I like to think of the marine ecosystem as something like a clock made up of lots of gears and mechanisms. And when I was a kid, I like to take things apart to figure out how they work, or sometimes to try to fix them. And you take out all of these different wheels and cogs, and if when you're putting it back together you leave some of those cogs out because they look small and unimportant, I can guarantee you that that clock isn't going to work well. You've got to care about all of the little pieces. So 8,332 species in this sector of the Gulf around the Deep Horizon. If we look at just the deep animals, those that live in, for our calculations, between 1,000 and 3,000 meters depth, and the Deep Horizon was at 1,500 meters, so it falls within this depth range, I was shocked to find out that there were 1,728 species of animals reported from that depth in that area of the Gulf. That is the most biodiverse, the most species-rich area of the Gulf at that depth. Anywhere else, I hadn't expected that. I would have thought it would have been down towards the Florida Straits or something like that, but the data don't lie. Within that depth, there are 135 unique species described only from that sector. 74 species from that area are threatened or endangered, including 6 marine mammals and 4 sea turtles. If we look at that quadrant of the Gulf, that is where the oil spill is over to the Florida coast, there are 2,800 species of animals and plants reported from that area. So there's a huge biodiversity. Now, the area is unique in many other respects. Most people think of the deep sea floor as simply a level mud bottom. That's not the case. Here we've got lots of hard substrate, and on some of the handouts you can see listings of all of the both methane seeps and the deep coral collections and other hard substrate areas, banks and reefs in that area. There is the DeSoto Canyon that runs from near the oil well blowout up into the shelf edge there. These areas, particularly the hard substrate areas, provide habitat for lots of deep sea corals. And you can think of these as colonies of animals that resemble bushes. These provide kind of the condominiums for the animals in the deep sea. These are the places where the crabs and the shrimp, the sea stars, The brittle stars survive. Gives them places to escape from predators, places to catch food, places to reproduce. I think most people aren't aware of the large number of marine mammals that are in that area. In the northern Gulf, from the area to the east of the Deep Horizon well, and far to the west, there are 1,600 sperm whales. These have been studied intensively. 53 of them were tagged with satellite tags and tracked for several years. These sperm whales dive deep to catch their food, which are primarily deep squids and fishes. Those squid that they're going to catch are being affected by these deep oil plumes, which are real. I think we're going to see evidence in the next few days of the oil signatures from these deep plumes, and the volume of those deep plumes now is equal to the volume of Lake Erie. So they're massive things. The sperm whales are diving through these deep plumes to get their food, which may also be contaminated by the oil. So there are lots of reasons to be concerned.